You're listening to the Confessions of a Hashtag Beauty Boss podcast. I'm your host, Angela Sanchez, beauty business mentor and founder of Beauty Business Co. I want you to believe that you can achieve anything if you set your mind to it. I'll be interviewing leading beauty industry professionals and discovering exactly what drove them to becoming the hashtag beauty boss they are today. Are you ready to be inspired? You're listening to episode 56 of the Confessions of a Hashtag Beauty Boss podcast with today's guest, Marika Bucknall. Marika is the owner of You Little Beauty Ballarat and You Little Beauty Academy, specializing in lashes and brows, and her salon is evolving into introducing skin soon as well. On this episode, we speak about the importance of not going at it alone. Even if you have a team or if you are solo owned and operated in business, the power of leaning into community for support and hiring a coach has been game changing for Marika. Marika is strong and determined, but that doesn't mean she hasn't had her own setbacks and is ready to make sure you don't run into the same obstacles as she has. In fact, Marika has a free resource that you can download right now on how she built her six-figure lash and brow business. Head to youlittlbeauty.net/links and grab it right now. Let's get into it. Marika, welcome to my virtual beauty lounge. It is so lovely to have you on the podcast today. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm well. Thank you so much for having me. Very excited.
Yay, it's so good. I can't wait to have you share your story about your journey from the industry. We've been connected through another one of our Beauty Boss Pro members, Peter, who invited you onto the last Beauty Boss retreat, which was lovely to get to know you a little bit more and a bit about your business. And again, it's just one of those things that brings our virtual connection into reality. And we, have 4 to 5 days really together as, a good amount of us that are all on our same journeys of building our businesses. And it was just so lovely that Peter recommended you to come to the retreat. And we've been able to get to know you further, but then also find out a little bit about what you're working on behind the scenes. And now we're working together to get that up and running from your courses. So I like to kick off the show with what your definition of a hashtag beauty boss is.
Yeah, so for me, when I think of a beauty boss, I think of someone who is a powerhouse, someone who never gives up. She's an inspiring leader, an innovator. She juggles a lot, as we all do, but she never stops pushing to create the life and the lifestyle of her dreams. I think a beauty boss isn't someone who never fails. She probably gets knocked down a lot, but what makes her a true beauty boss is that she just always continues to get back up again. So she rests if she needs to, but never quits.
I feel like you just described exactly also who you are, because now that I've gotten to know you and I'm working closely with you, I just feel like you are that powerhouse. You have, a really busy lifestyle with being a mama and husband that works away a lot. And I can just see you continually striving and working towards your dreams and goals. So yes, you're a great leader in that department.
Oh, thank you so much. I try to be anyway.
Yeah. So let's hear your story. Where did it all begin? What led you getting into the industry? And tell us a bit about what you're doing today.
Yeah, sure. So I grew up in a small country town in Donald in Victoria. So anyone who knows Victoria, it's about halfway between Melbourne and Mildura. At the time, there was about 1,500 people that lived in the town. So yeah, very rural. My mum was the local hairdresser. She had her salon. She took over her salon from my nan. So combined, I think it's been over 70 years that they've had their business. So after school, my sister and brother and I used to always go down to mum's salon and I would watch. And I'm a very visual learner, and I learnt hairdressing actually originally through my mum, just from watching her. So she taught me how to cut and colour hair, and I started just doing all my friends and family and really loved it. But I struggled with contact dermatitis, so I quickly sort of realised that hairdressing probably wasn't going to be the right industry for me. And my mum had always said to me that she always wanted to be an interior designer. She had regretted sort of not studying that her whole life. And I thought, oh, yeah, that sounds pretty good. Maybe I want to be an interior designer. I don't want to regret not doing it. So I shifted to Melbourne when I finished year 12, and I studied a diploma of interior decoration and design, which a lot of people don't know that about me. I started working in the industry. I think I was in the industry about 6 months. I actually got fired from my first job. It was my first and only job in the industry, first and only one I've ever been fired from as well. And I thought I was doing really well, but yeah, possibly it just wasn't the right place for me. So I just started working at Target. Sorry, I'm going to rephrase that. I have a bad habit of saying just for things that I do. So trying to stop doing that. As I was working at Target, every time I was driving home, I kept driving past this beauty school, and I thought, that looks pretty cool. They did lashes and nails and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, while I was working casually, I thought, oh, I'm just going to give it a go. Why not? So I did my certificate in nails as well as an eyelash course. And then I went on to study a diploma of makeup as well. So I just sort of picked and chose, the things that I was sort of interested in learning. So I got a job in, some salons in Melbourne. I moved around a lot. I don't think I had a job for longer than probably 6 months, because I was really struggling to find that place for me. I was finding I was getting treated really poorly in a lot of the salons. And I started going around to all these different salons as a client, trying to find somewhere that felt like a good fit for me. So at the time I was extremely overweight. I was very depressed. I wasn't in a good place in my life, definitely. And I was just feeling really crappy about myself. And I was going into all these salons and, really searching for something, a place for me, I think, not just as a client, but as somewhere to work as well. And while I was doing that, I just saw this really big gap in the industry, because I realized the effect that the people working in the salon were able to have on me, what they could have potentially given to me, they didn't. So I think when you're going into salons and you're feeling bad about yourself, you're not confident, we really do have the ability to change the way someone feels about themselves. And I was going into these salons and just thinking, they're not doing that for me. And I realized this, as a real realization for me of what I thought they should be doing and what I felt like I could do for my clients. So I started thinking, I want to do this for myself. I want to be able to work for myself and create this environment that I'm not getting where I'm working, and then I'm not getting as a client when I'm going into salons either. So I started looking around for places that I could rent to open my own salon in Melbourne, and quickly realised that it was going to be pretty expensive to be able to do that. And I definitely wasn't happy in Melbourne either. So quickly realised that Melbourne sort of wasn't for me, and I ended up shifting to Ballarat about 11 years ago now. It's freezing cold, so the regret is definitely real now. But yeah, I got a job in a nail salon, and I worked from home doing lashes for probably, I think 12 months it was, until I'd built up enough money to open my own salon. So 10 years ago, I opened my salon. I bought the building where I was opening. It was in this just completely dead area. There's only 3 other shops. It's just it's not in a commercial area at all. And when we were setting up the salon, I had all these old ladies walking past with their dogs popping their heads in, and they'd be all saying, "Oh, love, you're spending way too much money on this shop. Nothing's ever survived in here." And I was thinking, oh my God, what have I done? I thought, this shop's jinxed or something. But anyways, I opened the salon. Within 12 months, I had 2 employees, and we were honestly busier than what we could handle. I had always had the problem of having too many clients, luckily, too many clients for the team members I was able to have on. So yeah, over the years, I've just branched out into other services. I branched out into cosmetic tattooing about 8 years ago, and more recently have completed my training to become a lash trainer. And then while I was on maternity leave, 2 weeks after my daughter was born, we went into our first lockdown. For anyone who's in Victoria would know how long they went for. It was, a pretty crappy stage in business and in life, having a newborn through lockdown as well. But I used that time to create an online academy and I now run an academy through the salon, as well as the online part of it, and a lash supplies online store as well. And yeah, from there, I'm just sort of gradually branching out into different things. We're just about to branch out into skin. Yeah, so my business has changed a lot over the years. It did start as just nails and lashes, and we're sort of going into, other things as the sort of, industry is evolving. But yeah, I mean, there's been a huge amount of ups and downs over the years, a lot of downs, unfortunately, but there's been some amazing ups as well. And I think I've got to the stage now, since I think taking on a business coach, as well as, like you said, going to that retreat earlier in the year, I feel like I have some pretty incredible people around me, an amazing support system now that I'm proud of what I have built in my business up until this point. But it blows my mind, I think, now that I can see the potential of, where it can take me now that I've got, that great support system around me. So that'd probably be my biggest thing that I would say to anyone, in the industry or thinking of getting in the industry, to just make sure you have, a support system around you, because it can be lonely having a business if you don't have that and you don't have sort of like-minded people around you as well. Yeah. So yeah, that's sort of how I started, I guess, to where I am now.
Yes, I love that. So much potential there. And that, I guess, it's the, when you're thinking about those people that say, nothing survived in that area of the town or
Yeah.
Sometimes it comes down to who's actually going into the shop and how they can shift and pivot into areas where it's going to solve problems for the people that are actually those services.
That's it.
Yeah.
So when we opened, there was only 4 shops there. There was only one other shop that was operating. The other 3, so mine was the third, were closed. So there was only one operating shop. So it was a risky move, but I think I was confident that I had the clients that would follow me from home, that they would follow me anywhere. And, since then the other shops have opened. We've brought, quite a lot to that area. So yeah, I think things grow where you put the effort in.
Yeah, absolutely. And so which hurdles do you continually see popping up when it comes to running a beauty business?
Yeah, so I think for me, probably the thing I have always found the hardest is staffing being the biggest challenge. I've always found it really hard to find team members that, I guess, really good at what they do and wanting to sort of grow. I think there's definitely been a big shift in the industry, particularly in the services that we offer, being, predominantly lashes and brows. It is really easy for people to work from home. So, yeah, I think a lot of the time people do their training and then they're not really that interested in working for people. So I think, being in an industry that seems to have sort of a pretty quick turnover of staff too, I think it just does make it hard to find that right team that's good, good for your business and that you're good for them as well. I've been pretty lucky in the 10 years that I've had the business. I've only lost one team member to another salon, but all the other team members have either shifted away from the cold or, they've moved into other industries. So I think that's probably definitely a challenge, I think, with our industry, is getting people to stay in it long term. And I think pricing is probably another hurdle with the services we offer. There's so many people doing them from home so cheap. And I think it really does devalue the services and the industry as well. So that's probably the main challenge I think that I've definitely run into in business.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I guess, in saying that, then it's great because you've put your knowledge and expertise together and working on your own money mountains there with, okay, if this is going to be a challenge where it's, if you're not going to expand your team to be really, really large and you're just going to have a small team and service the clients to maximum capacity, as you had said, you booked out quite far in advance as well. But then looking at avenues and how you can increase your income streams, and you are stepping into the coaching space yourself, which is so, so exciting for people to be mentored underneath you, because you have an incredible business. You do create a great team culture. And you're someone to learn from. So it is really, really great, again, to lean into mentors that have walked in the same path as where you want to go as well. We all started from nothing to something, whether we're starting from home or not. And it really is important to work with people that, I guess, inspire you to kind of as you had said in the beginning, like create a business that's aligned with their dreams and their goals and who they want to be as a person, and also, you know, exactly what they want to build it out to be, not just do you want to stay in your room from home or where do you want that to go as well. Yeah, so I'm so excited for what you're going to be building in the future.
Thank you. I think I'm very open to change at the moment. And I think it's something that, you know, I think when you open a business, I think you really have to be. You know, my business that I have now is a completely different business to the one I originally set up. And it's because I've, you know, things have changed in the industry. I've changed my, you know, I now have a daughter. You know, what you want out of your business definitely changes. And I think it's important to, you know, work towards, you know, not being shut off to change, because I think for a very long time I was. And now that I've sort of opened it up and I'm, you know, taking advice for people, and, you know, it can change your business so much if you're just open to, you know, change and, you know, taking people's advice.
Yeah, absolutely. So you had mentioned about having your support network around you being important when you're starting out. How do we get a support network in the first place? Because for you, I hadn't met you before the retreat, and it wasn't, I guess it was from you being close with Peter, who's also in the same town as you. Do you have a close community in Ballarat? And then for the listener, what are your 2 top important tips for them starting out in their own business?
Yeah, so the community thing, I have to admit, I found really hard. So I would have said, before going to the Beauty Boss retreat, I would have said Peter was probably my only support, apart from my mum, obviously. No, that sounds bad. My only support, as in with someone who knows a lot about the industry. I have a good support with my family and that, but I think it's very different for people. You know, unless you're in the industry, I think you don't know the industry, you don't know as much how to support someone who's, you know, trying to build a business in the industry. So I think, you know, when I reached out to Peter just before Christmas, and, you know, I was probably not in the best place in my business. I had a team member who was my replacement for me when I was going on maternity leave that was moving on. And I was just in this stage where I just thought, I'm not sure, you know, if I want to do it anymore. Like, I really was, you know, my life had changed a lot since having my daughter. My priorities had changed a lot. And I just thought, you know, another team member leaving, having to think of the work involved in training another one up. And so I reached out to Peter, and she recommended 2 things to me, a business coach and the Beauty Boss retreat. And I have to say, those 2 things combined have been an absolute game changer for me. So the business coach has been able to just help me set clear goals. You know, I've completely changed my business in the 6 months that I've been with him, because I was open to it and I've put in a huge amount of work in that time. So that was an amazing support for me, as well as going to the Beauty Boss retreat. I met so many incredible women there that have continued to support me. It wasn't just support while I was on the retreat. I'm actually getting a little bit emotional. You know, they reach out all the time. They, you know, comment on your things. It really does feel like I just have this amazing network around me now, that if I was struggling with something, I could reach out to like-minded people, you know, that would be able to help me. Whereas up until this point, probably I didn't have that. So yeah, I would definitely recommend, if anyone listening, if you are someone who, you know, does struggle with that, if you are finding it lonely having your own business and you don't feel like you have like-minded people around you that understand, I think definitely going to a retreat like Beauty Boss retreat, or, you know, investing in a business coach definitely is, you know, the way to go.
I'd say there's no such thing as mistakes. They're all like opportunities for learning, but
yeah, definitely.
Mistake anyone can make is not actually, you know, like saying yes and leaning into support as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thinking that you've gone this whole 10 years without having what you have now around you, that makes me sad. And I know there are so many business owners out there that are doing it alone. You know, even if you have a team under you, it is like, luckily your mum is in the industry and can understand, but family is different to speak to when it comes to things about what's going on in your day. So yeah, it is so, so important to make sure that you are a part of a community where you can feel safe and vulnerable to ask questions, and yeah, know that you're in a trusted place, like a container where you can ask questions and feel supported to be able to move forward, rather than, not just a venting place, but actually taking those actionable steps and implementing them to help you.
Yeah, and I think if you don't have support with people that in the industry or understand the industry, I think, I had a lot of people around me that thought that they were being really supportive by, if I was struggling with different things and saying, oh, I just don't know if I can do it anymore, or, any of those sort of negative things that you start telling yourself, if you don't have someone in the industry that can, really guide you and help you and give you suggestions, and, you have people around you that are saying, well, they're looking at it as that they want you to be happy. So they're more saying, well, don't do it anymore then. Why don't you just close the business then, or do this or do that, and they think that they're helping, and, they are to a certain extent for how they are, able to help you when they don't have the knowledge of the industry. But I think if you have people around you that have, the knowledge, or they've done it before, or, they've been through what you have been through, they're able to give advice for things that can really make big changes in your business, rather than just, oh, well, stop doing it.
Yeah. Yep. I know it's very easy to sort of just go along with the story and make you feel good out of that situation. I understand.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you for sharing. Did you have anything else to share with that?
So there's 2 important tips for listeners,
for the aspired beauty boss listener when they're starting out.
Yeah. Okay. I think the first one would be, watch out for that whole the grass is always greener type thing. So I think if you spend too much time, looking over the fence at other businesses, at how green their grass is, like yours is going to die because you're not spending enough time watering it. So I think, it's important to be so busy watering your own grass that you don't have time to worry about how green anyone else's is. I think there's, you can really fall into that trap of comparing yourself to other businesses and other people, which I definitely have done through a lot of, my business. And it's only been in the last probably 6 months that I've really made an effort to, even unfollow pages or anyone on social media that if they make me feel bad about myself. So if you're following other businesses that you're not using, or you're not seeing it as inspiration, what the amazing things they're achieving, if it's making you feel bad or making you feel like what you're doing isn't good enough, I just think unfollow them. Make sure you're following things that are inspiring you to do better, not that are, drawing you back and making you feel like you're never doing good enough. The other probably main tip that I would have, which is probably a super boring answer, is to know your figures. I buried my head in the sand for a really, really long time with this in my business. And I think if I had have really looked at my figures a lot sooner than what I did, my business would be in a completely different place. So, as boring as it is and as hard as it is, figure out your break even so you know exactly how much it costs you to operate and provide those services to the clients. Don't just price your services based on what other people are pricing. You have to make sure you're covering your costs and charging what you're worth as well.
Yeah, that's a really big one. A lot of people do say that it's really easy to sort of just dive in and get started and undercharge your worth and just hope that, clients are walking through the door, and then you get to that point where it's really actually hard to increase your prices to a point where you're making it profitable because you've charged too little. So especially in the lash and brow industry, I would say that that's a big one. So yeah, just making sure you know your numbers and what your costings are, but then also looking at, not comparing yourself to other salons was a big one, especially with social media. I think it's really overwhelming sometimes to see the content hamster wheel just getting in your way of what you should be doing and what others are doing. So you've done the right thing there by unfollowing anyone that may trigger you in a non-inspiring way. And if you're using social media for personal, then I think it's important to put a limit on that. But from a business perspective, I always speak about, using it as that strategy and fuel for you to be inspired, but making sure that it's laser focused time as well. So that browsing period where you're using it for business needs to be capped so that you don't go down that hamster wheel of like,
Yeah.
oh, gosh, like how am I ever going to produce anything like that? And yeah, use that time wisely for saving audios and, you know, different things that you think you want to try and recreate for your industry, if it's looking at other industries as well. But then using other time that's in the calendar and plan it out when you're going to actually implement and batch record and batch create your content as well, because then you get into that staying in your own lane zone and not worrying about the grass being greener on the other side because you have a plan of attack.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's made such a massive difference in my business with the social media. Like, you know, when I first started my business, social media was, I mean, it existed, but not like what it does now. It was, you know, we were fully reliant on word of mouth, but it is so important now, social media. And I think, you know, I definitely, before the retreat, I definitely didn't commit enough time to it. And now I actually allocate time every week to work on my social media. And, you know, the growth that I've seen in my business in that amount of time since I have been, you know, really committing to it and putting in the work has just been mind blowing. Like, it's definitely has been worth it. So I know, you know, I always had the mindset of, you know, if I block out time though, that's time that I could be doing a client. But the growth that by blocking out that time has given my business was worth losing out on, you know, that one client that you couldn't fit in.
Yeah, so true. That's a really good point, because I think also even looking at from like investing in your education, so time to set aside to work on your personal development, business development, and obviously like in clinic and stuff, whether it's product knowledge, but, you know, then setting a time for that implementation, because obviously we teach so much inside Beauty Boss Pro, but then are you going to use that information to fuel your business and help scale and grow? Or is it just sort of that, you know, constant listening but never taking action? So it's and I love the momentum that you've had. I can see a huge difference from when I first met you to now, you know, what you're doing, and the batch creation and recording has made a huge difference for, you know, the limited time you have too between working on the floor and working on the business and looking after your family as well.
Yes.
And still being able to execute so much.
Yeah.
I love that. So with saying that, what 3 apps can you not just live without anymore?
So I think the main one would probably be the scheduling app for my social media content, because I am so consistent with it. I do, you know, I have posts going up all the time. So I love being able to schedule everything. So then I usually run my social media being at least 1 to 2 months in advance. We do, you know, at least 1 post a day. So I find if I'm not that far ahead, I get really stressed. So I plan all my marketing 12 months in advance. I know for each 2-month block what we're going to be promoting, and then I create all of my social media content around that. So it's all pre-planned. When I've blocked out the time to create the reels, I know exactly what I'm creating them for, because I've already, you know, I know what I'm going to be marketing in my business in 6 months' time. So yeah, being able to schedule that content in has made, life so much easier. The second one for me is not business related, but it'd be Spotify Kids. So every single time I get into the car, my daughter wants more Elsa, more Emma. She either wants to listen to Frozen or The Wiggles. And if I don't put that on, life's not worth living. It definitely makes life easier having Spotify Kids for sure. And I think what would be the third one? I think it would be a tie between Messenger and photo editing app. No, sorry, I'm going to say my Canva app. I spend a huge amount of time on Canva preparing, you know, a lot of social media content, all of that. So I just find it is such a good program. And yeah, I like that it's got an app that I can use it on my phone as well if I'm sort of, you know, I don't like wasting time. So if I'm ever in a waiting room, usually I'm sitting there editing stuff on camera or, you know, doing things like that. So yeah, that would probably be my main ones.
Awesome. Yeah, I do love that Canva has its app, because we obviously upload so much from our phone as well. So I've never been that person to kind of create on the desktop and then get it into my phone that way. But if you are creating on your desktop and then have the Canva account, it's already in the app. So yeah, it's great because you can remove backgrounds, you can create moving graphics, which then turn it into video. And when social media is favoring video content right now, you want to be making sure that you're utilizing the tools within these creation apps as well. So
yeah, and I think Canva operates really well for people that don't really, like I wouldn't say that I'm tech savvy, but I think I can pretty confidently make some images that look quite good and look like, it wasn't just a home job.
No.
And you can, because there's so many templates, you can just edit and, edit to your brand colors and all of that. It's so easy to do it.
Yeah. And I think what is easy, like for you to say it's easy, is because you actually do have your brand template a part of like Canva, or you've got, you've had your brand colors done, your fonts that you use. So because I think also like anything, you can go into the Canva app and there are so many templates and it's like, oh, well, which one should I use? And then it can be something that's totally not related to like what your brand is.
And so I have a lot of photos uploaded as well into ours. So, if it's lashes, I've got a heap of lashes, I've got a heap of brows, I've got a heap of every service that we do, as well as our logo and all of that all preloaded in there. So if I am creating a graphic that's for, I don't know, let's just say we're doing an eyelash promo, I've got all the content in there to just, easily transfer into whatever I'm working on. So it makes it so much easier. And you can just click on whatever template you want and then just click to edit it to your brand colors. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is so good. Very nifty app to have. What is one thing that you are constantly searching for when it comes to support in what you do daily?
So I think for me, I'm probably always searching for support in balance. So I know you said that I do it well, but I do struggle with the daily hustle, trying to find that work-life balance with, my daughter. Obviously, I'm spending a huge amount of time working on my business as well as working in my business. And I do have my husband lives away from home. So my husband's only home on a Sunday. So it is, I'm in a big growth stage of my business and my daughter's only 2. So I just find that it's a constant juggle. And I do find I never really understood mum guilt when people talked about that, but I think it definitely is a thing, especially when you're a high achiever, which I think I am. I'm always striving to do better in my business. And I think, it's hard when you're getting that pull from both. I always do find it hard to just get that juggle right. I feel like sometimes my business needs me more, sometimes my daughter needs me more, and I struggle to sometimes find that perfect balance between the two. But so I think for me, the main thing I would be searching for is support to get that balance better. So for me at the moment, what I'm really trying to work on in my business is getting better processes set up. So, if I have new team members that come on board, there's a process for how we, put them on, so that then, and a process for how I do everything in my business. So then I'm able to delegate those jobs a little bit more rather than, trying to do it all myself. And I think I'm gradually getting there. I've definitely delegated a lot more to my team, and I think they love it. They like having that responsibility of doing more and feeling like they're, more a part of your vision for your business as well.
Yeah, that is so good. And it takes practice to start to lean into people around you that can ask for help. Like,
I was that typical person that was just like, by the time I explain to you how to do it, I may as well have just done it myself. Or that mindset of, well, I'm just going to have to, I'm going to have to fix it anyway if they have done it. But my business coach said to me, like, even if you give someone a job and they do it to 80% of how you would do it, if you only have to go in and fix that, 20%, isn't that better than doing 100% yourself? And I was just like, it was like this light bulb moment for me that I was just like, oh my God, I've been doing it wrong all these years just because I didn't want to let go of those reins and, believe that someone else can probably hold the reins just as well.
Yeah. I don't think anyone can do our business as well as what we can, But if that 80% is done, then you can actually, like, imagine having a team of 80%ers, right? And how
Yeah.
you can grow your business from being able to delegate to other people. And that's also meaning in the home too, like as mum guilt can come up as well. But how can you outsource things in your house, like maybe having a cleaner so that you can spend that time with family rather than having that overwhelm of like, I've been working all week, but then I've got to do everything within the house too. Or maybe you want to outsource some meals or start like a meal train with a group of friends or something like that. I think it's something I'm personally working on too, but asking for help is not an easy task sometimes because we are so driven in our businesses. But when it comes to our personal lives as well, it is, just really important to think of like, okay, who's in my personal life team too? And how can I delegate more to those things so it can give me back time in areas where you can, feel present with family too.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's definitely hard to get over that mindset of thinking that, especially with stuff around the house. I agree. I do have a cleaner now since I went back to work, a lot more days. It was hard for me to do that because I had that mindset of, well, that's my job. But I think I look at it and think, I'm really trying to do things in my life that bring me joy and that, and cleaning's not one of them. I find I don't get a hell of a lot of time with my family. So I don't want to be cleaning when I do have that time. So I think, taking those responsibilities and passing them on to someone else that, can probably do it quicker anyway because it's their job. They're not getting distracted by other stuff. I start cleaning the house and find 10 billion other things that I have forgotten to do.
Yeah, I'm the same. And it's a work-life blend. I think I took balance out of the dictionary for us all because I don't think it exists, blending business and life. It needs to be something that's working for us because it's not about kind of, one scale being higher than the other.
Yes.
Yeah. But I do think you're doing an incredible job and it's
thank you.
Yeah, it's easy to see from an external side. Like I had said, you do it so well, but then I do also know that you do it like 150%, but then we don't want those other things of family and stuff getting into the overwhelm of the mind. So I guess that's also coming across from, the comparisonitis that we can have with other business owners or on social media too. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors for them. So it's not always that shiny external Instagram reel that we always see,
Yeah.
Do you have any specific routines that you stick to set your day up for success?
Do it's probably not going to be the answer you're hoping that I would say. I'd love to say yes, that I have these, amazing routines that I stick to. I think after going to the Beauty Boss retreat, I definitely did try and implement a lot. I learned a lot. I realized at that retreat that I definitely wasn't, I didn't have any me time or I definitely wasn't setting my days up for success at all. But I think one thing I've learned is to be as organized as I can the night before. So I make sure that I've always made Hadley's lunch and tidied the house and done all of that so that it's not as much of a rush the next day. I always set my alarm a lot earlier than when I need to get up, but probably the main specific thing that I do is there's a poem that's called Don't Quit that I read every single morning. And since I've been doing that, I think it just gets me in this really good mindset that, sets the day up for success, I think.
I love that. That's so good. We'll have to get it off you and share it in our group because
I can read it to you if you like. Or...
Oh, yeah. Can you? Is that all right?
Yeah, for sure. Don't quit. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high and you want to smile but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't quit. Life is strange with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns, and many a fellow turns out when he might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow, you may succeed with another blow. Often the gold is nearer than it might seem to a fair and faltering man. Often the struggler has given up when he might have captured the victor's cup. And he learned too late when night came down how close he was to the golden crown. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt, and you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems so far. So stick to the fight when you're hardest hit. It's when things seem worse that you mustn't quit.
Oh, I have goosebumps. That was beautiful.
It's such a good poem. My mum and dad used to have it on the back of the toilet door. And even as a kid, I just used to, like, we had 3 toilets in our house. We had quite a bigger house when I was growing up. And I would always choose that toilet. I loved motivational quotes even back then as a kid. And I used to just read it. So I think I had read it every day growing up. And I've just continued to do so. And I think it definitely makes a difference. I think what you tell yourself and what you read, it definitely can have a massive impact on your day and how you set it up.
Yeah, yes, 100%. Like podcast listening and songs in the morning to get you going.
Yes.
It's really powerful. Like there's amazing apps out there now actually that kind of give you affirmations every few minutes, but I also just have some reminders on my phone that come up every 15 minutes, I think it is, and they're all different ones, and they are specific to some of the goals that I want to achieve, but they are all really empowering things that remind me that I need to not quit. So
yeah, I love that. I'll have to get that app off of you.
Yeah, I will send it to you. So let's move on to some rapid fire questions. What is the best you've ever read?
So probably the most game-changing one for me it's called Your Salon Retail, which is by Lisa Conway. She's the owner of Zing, which is who I go through with my business coaching. But I think it was a huge mind shift for me reading that book. She gives you sort of lots of tools to implement into your salon with retail. I was definitely, I've always seen retail or, thought retail was pushy or, I've never really done much retail in my business. But yeah, since starting with my business coach and in particularly reading this book, it's just, it's been a big game changer for me in seeing, really looking at retail as part of the service that you're providing for the client. So yeah, it's made a huge difference in my business.
Yeah.
Reading that.
I'll find out where our listeners can go and shop. I'm assuming that she has it for online sale, or is it just for clients who work in the coaching?
No, it's definitely for online. There's audio versions as well if for people who say that they don't like reading. I think she has 3 books. I haven't read the other 2 yet. I've just started with the Your Salon Retail, but she does have one that's team, and I've forgotten what the other one is, but yeah, she's just extremely down to earth, straight down the line. Like I love it. It really spoke to me. It's made a big difference for how I've seen implementing retail for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for sharing. Who is someone that you would love to meet in person?
So I would love to meet the comedian Carl Barron. I just find him hilarious. So he has got me out. I've never met him, but watching his videos has got me out of some pretty crappy times in my life. I found him initially when I was in high school. I was suffering from depression at the time, and I had one friend who I was, really open and honest with. He was a really good support for me. And this one night, I just remember I was really down and I was messaging him, and there was a knock on the door, and I went to the front door, and there was this DVD there that just had this Post-it note on it and said, "Watch me." So I was like, oh, okay. And I was watching it, and it was like a comedian. I was thinking, I don't want to sit and watch a comedian when I'm upset. Like, I'm not even going to find it funny. And I was trying so hard not to laugh. And oh my God, I was just nearly wet my pants. I just find him so hilarious. I would just love to meet him to see if he's like, what he's like in person. If he's like, I always wonder that if comedians are just like an absolute scream to be around in person, or if they're not really like that in their everyday life.
Yeah, it would be interesting, actually.
Yeah, I just wonder what they're like at Christmas. Like, do their family hate them? Like, being around the Christmas day, we're just joking all the time, or are they not like that? I don't know. I'd love to know.
It'd be very interesting. And yeah, laughter is the greatest medicine, I have to say.
It definitely is. Yeah, for sure.
What is something you would jump at if you knew you wouldn't fail?
So I think I really love public speaking. I used to do public speaking quite a lot in high school, and I really love it. I'd love to, if I knew I couldn't fail, or if I had something I think people would find motivating enough, I'd love to do like motivational speaking. Anytime I watch someone sort of doing a speech or a presentation that I find really inspiring, it makes me think, I wish that was me. I'd love to do that. I'd love to have that impact on people that those speakers were having on me. Or probably the other thing would be business coaching. I've learned so much in the 6 months that I've had with my business coach and, you know, like have seen the impact that you are able to have on clients' businesses. I'd love to be able to help people in that way, help their businesses grow and help them with their personal development as well.
Yeah. Oh, well, you're already literally stepping into that space. It might not be as the big stage vision, but like you being here on this podcast right now, you would not imagine the amount of impact you're having on the listener right now, because you kind of have to think like that, though. Like there's people that have been walking in the same similar shoes as you know, or stepping into motherhood and not quite knowing how to sort of get into the mindset of continuing on with your business. And so, yeah, podcasts are really, really great, like for stepping into that public speaking space too. Yeah.
Oh, stay tuned then.
Yeah. What's one thing you've procrastinated about this week?
I'm going to say, as much as I've just been saying how I'm, you know, really committed with our social media, one thing I struggle with social media is the stories. I find I'm consistent with posts and consistent with, you know, making the reels, but I really do procrastinate showing up on stories. So that's definitely something that, yeah, I need to sort of work on for sure, because I think, right, I'm going to show up and show my face at least, you know, 2 or 3 times this week. And then, I don't know, I just don't do it. I avoid it. And I think it's the content. I struggle to know with what people would want to hear from me. I think it just comes back to that self-doubt, I think, which I'm still working on.
Yeah. Oh, we all are. And, you know, I think it's so great because you're so organized when it comes to all the content planning, and you've record so many reels and they're ready for their day for you to, unfortunately, they don't have the automation for reels posting at the moment, but you've got them ready. So like, because from my perspective, it's like, oh yeah, I'll show up on stories because I'm so in the moment of what I'm doing. And it's like, people love to see the behind the scenes of everybody's life. It's a weird thing that we love to see. So it is as simple as kind of taking them behind the scenes of your day, because you've got everything else planned. So it's not really about what they really want to hear or see in the midst of you educating through all the other things you're doing. It's just showing up as you know?
Yeah, and I think that's something I definitely need to get my head around. It's something that, you know, at the Beauty Boss retreat when we had, I've forgotten her name, that came and did with Reels training.
Oh, yes, Monique.
Yeah, and she was saying, you know, to show up and, you know, people want to see you. And I was thinking, oh, God, no one wants to see me doing that. But it's monstrous, the impact that it has on your business and the interaction you get from your following once you actually do start showing up and showing you on there. Like, I could have scrolled back before I went to that retreat. I could have scrolled back months before you would see a photo of me or anyone on my team. Like probably over a year. I think we probably would have put one up from our Christmas party, and that'd be about it. That'd be as much as you would see of us. And yeah, it's unbelievable. And even just the interaction that clients, even in the salon, like they come in and say, oh, I saw your reel. And like people really do love it. I just need to learn to transfer that to the stories, I think, because I'm a good planner. It's the stuff that's, you know, a little bit more.
Yeah, but I guess not off the cuff. Yeah.
Like I think, right, I'm going to do my story, and I sit there and I have the phone in front of me and think, I don't know what
to say. Yeah, so easy. So just start with putting the camera the other way around and literally not showing your face. Show the shelves instead, you know, and then you can implement talking behind. So don't put a song and then do the talking instead of showing your face. And then you might build that confidence to flip the camera around, and all with consistency. That's a word that we use a lot, because if you haven't done a Facebook Live for a while, or if you've never pressed play on Instagram Live, of course it's going to be scary. But I can tell you, if you kind of set yourself a bit of a challenge where you're going to maybe go live once a week for, I don't know, a few months even, and just have a few topics of what you're going to talk about, it just becomes a lot easier. I'm not going to say my heart still doesn't beat every time I press the big live button, because, you know, it is raw. You can't edit it. It's all just you. And if you stuff up, you know what? It's okay, because you make the mistakes, and it's okay because they are more connected to you being your real authentic self than it being an edited full high resolution video.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah. So if you were stranded on a deserted island with no Wi-Fi, what's one thing you wish you had with you?
Do you know, I always struggle with these questions because I'm an information girl. Like, I want to know, like, well, is there water there? Does that mean there's no food? Like, what am I choosing between? So I would say if I'm stranded on a deserted island and there's no water, water would be the thing that I would say, because obviously you can survive without a lot of things, but not water. But if there was water and, I don't know, berries that I could eat that wouldn't kill me, I'd probably say sunscreen. I'd hate to be on a deserted island and be hot without sunscreen. I'd die of like sunburn or something. I'd be scorched.
Yeah. No,
Wouldn't
that's
have to worry about dying of starvation. I'd be melted.
Yeah. That's so true. No, we get that answer a lot because we're in the industry and we know how important.
Yes, that's so true.
This has been so lovely. It's really nice to share you with our listeners here. So next for you, you've got a lot coming up. I'd love for you to share a little bit more about your online academy. So because, you know, you are in Victoria, so not everyone can get down to do your in-person training. And you've been creating behind the scenes is absolutely amazing. Know that people can connect and learn from you, and they can literally be anywhere in the world. So it's really, really exciting for the lash industry to know that they can learn from you.
Yes. So when I first set up the online courses, I did have it just as evergreen. So people, you know, you could just train it at any one time. But I really wanted to be able to give people, you know, more support than that, because I think it's really easy to, you know, join an online course and then just never do it. I've done that a million times with different things, or, you know, I joined online courses and didn't feel like I got the support during or after. So what I've done now is I've changed, you know, since on your recommendation, is changing it to, you know, being an intake where, you know, the doors are closed. So when you sign up, you actually run through the course with me. So you get, you know, 6 live trainings with me throughout the duration of the course. And you also have that support of other people who are learning the same thing as you at the same time. So it really creates that little community, like what we were talking about before, that, you know, I think is really important. So, you know, you're sort of learning from not just me, but from other people that are going through the same thing as you at the same time. And hopefully it, you know, helps you to build your community as well. And yes, we just do a lot of ongoing help with our students as well. So that's sort of something that, you know, I'm really focusing on at the moment, is just that next intake into the Classic Lash course, with the help of you, Ange, helping me so much with my marketing and all the social media and how to sort of run all of that. So it's been very eye-opening to me, just all the social media stuff. It's very very full on. But
it is full on, without throwing you in the deep end of having to do it all, but actually having a launch plan for your course to, you know, have people know that it's actually there is so important. And it's like any beauty business owner. I think we are popping out that we've got one promotion on Mother's Day, for example, and think that people are going to see it and book out our promotions, you know, but it takes a little bit more than that. So having a bit of a strategy behind what you're actually wanting to achieve is so, so important. And you being able to implement that, because I know you put so much work into creating your actual course to have it online in a portal where people can have access to it and learn at their own pace. But then it's really about everyone knowing that it's actually there. So, yes, I have
and I think
that's
something that I've sort of fallen in the trap of, and I'm sure a lot of business owners have fallen in that trap of, like, you know, launching something that they think is really amazing, and then no one buys it and they think, oh, well, that didn't work, no one wanted it. But, you know, it's usually because it hasn't been implemented and you haven't got it out there. You know, you can't just start offering a new service or, you know, offering something different in your business. Don't tell anyone about it. Just chuck it on your price list and hope that, you know, it takes off and, you know, it's just amazing new venture for you. It's not going to be unless you put in the effort and you know, spend that time and, you know, you plan and, you know, implement the marketing around that. And then I think once you do, the potential for that service or, you know, whatever you're trying to implement is just monstrous if you actually plan the work into it.
Yeah, you know, and building a list is really important. Like I think we think of our email lists just for the clients that walk through your door, and you add their details and add in the email address, and then you just send out a newsletter to those people. But what about all the people that follow you on social media that could potentially be a customer for not an in-person service, but an actual retail product, or for your instance here, moving into this online course space? So you've got, the potential to actually teach and make a bigger impact with the knowledge and expertise that you've built over, your years in business. It's just amazing that there's so many people that need you and your help. So it's important to use your voice. And social media is a great platform in how to do that, because it allows you to reach a whole lot more people that would never see you if they walked past your shop.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So where can our listeners go and find you on social media now that we're chatting about that? And also, we want to direct them, if we do have any skin therapists that want to learn lashes, or business owners that are bringing in team members who want to learn lashes or add lashes to your services, or maybe you're even listening here thinking, I would love to be able to start my own lash business and walk in the shoes of Marika. So tell everybody where they can go and find you and get a really great download that you've created for them.
Yeah, thank you. So we're on Instagram and Facebook. So I do have 2 separate pages. So my salon page is You Little Beauty Ballarat on both Instagram and Facebook, and the academy is You Little Beauty Academy on Instagram and Facebook as well. At the moment, on my academy website, which is youlittle.beautyacademy.net, we do have a free download that is called How I Built My 6-Figure Business in less than 12 months. So that's really amazing for anyone who's thinking of starting a beauty business or a lash business. It's just got some really amazing tips in there for, what to do to, implement a really great business right from the get-go, because it can be really scary opening your own business and not really knowing exactly what to do. Clients don't always just magically show up. There's things that you need to do to put the work in for that to happen. So yeah, it's a really good guide just for anyone that is interested in starting up a lash business. And yeah, from the academy page, we've got all the information on our in-person as well as online courses. So yeah, the online courses are amazing because you have access to that even once the course is finished. So, if anyone was interested in getting into lashes or even getting team members trained in lashes, I think it's a really good opportunity, with the online training to be able to do that as well. They can just continue to watch the videos over and over and over, as well as get that, ongoing support from me as well.
Yes.
So yeah, it's suitable for anyone who's untrained as well. You don't have to have any prior skills. So even if you're not in beauty yet and you're just thinking about getting into beauty, it's a perfect opportunity as well.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'll add it to the show notes and also our social media graphics when we publish that episode too, so people can follow you easily. Thank you so much for today. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, and I'll talk to you really soon.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so appreciative. I had a great time.
No worries. See ya.
Thanks, Ange. Bye.